G'day, welcome to episode 68 of my Oxygen Not Included playthrough. Yeah, attempt to survive, probably more difficult than ever. Now, alright, now I've got to address something about the way that water is flowing down here. But we also have to try and do it in a way that means that we're not going to have water just sort of flowing endlessly everywhere. This pole here makes no sense because there's nothing getting it up that way. So, let's go deconstruct that pole. There's a ladder already there. And also, let's cancel that. Let's be less reckless about this. Let's deconstruct the buildings. Buildings deconstruct that and deconstruct that. Try and stop this. Alright. This I guess you guys are going to get. So, once we've done that, what we want to do is we want to try and make sure that, I guess, all of this ice... I mean, that ice could probably melt if it wants to on the wrong side. That's fine. So what we'll do is we will build a new plastic ladder there. Dig out those two spots there. Okay, let's dig out those two as well. We'll deconstruct that ladder as well, which currently also doesn't matter since we've got this guy here. Let's actually, no, that one might actually be important for hopping up there. Let's deconstruct that one. So let's keep that one ladder just going all the way up. We can then say to dig out those. Let's dig out those two too, although we don't really need to make that order to dig it out because we just want to make that across there. We will put 2 squares there, 1 there, and then we will ask that to be mesh. Oh, I can't get rid of those. Alright, we'll ask that one. We will ask that guy there to be mesh. And then we'll ask, cancel that one. Ask him to be mesh. And then we'll ask that guy there to be mesh. Just got to keep an eye out to make those two. Well, they're just on reachable build at the moment. They'll get corrected. And then what we also want to do is block this off, but we don't want to do that until this ladder is built. Actually, no reason that that can't just be a ladder, actually. Okay. Alright. Comments from the last one. Alright, thank you for pointing out that I did not rebuild the oxyferns and so on that were down here. So, trying to remember what was where. I assume that Wheezeworts were on the outside. Go plant. We have 4 oxyferns. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Wheezewort. And Wheezewort, the follow-up comment to that question was how much phosphorate do I have left? Because I'm using that for all my Wheezewort. I think the last time I checked had a ridiculous amount. 77 tons. So I don't think it's a problem. Hopefully not for a little while. Alright. Too hot for those guys? No, they just need fertilizer. Yeah, it's alright. I think they can exist in some pretty toasty temperatures. We're looking up here. Alright, cool. So that's rest. Get that wall built there. Because what that'll mean then is if this starts to flood up, it can now rise all the way up to here. And And basically, that'll be the point that the sort of point that it'll pour over the top of. So, should give us a lot more room to work with. Now, the other thing mentioned. Sorry, we'll just do a quick check on steel. See how we're doing here. So they're still really high. We don't have to worry about them. Plastic's still pumping along. The first amount of steel that we needed was furniture, base, 7.5 tons. So I'd be surprised if we got that much in this one. Okay. That water is getting warmer too, as this works more and more over time. So the suggestion for the best way to fix the heating issue that could possibly be coming from having this much security being made was an aqua tuner and steam generator. But the other request was, if you don't look this up, this could be a very interesting thing on how to build. Well, I didn't get where I am looking things up, so let's give it a crack. Firstly, let's find out what they are. So I assume steam generator should be in... I mean, I can always start at the same spot I do, where I just sort of aimlessly search. Shift plate. Drywall. Interesting. What does that cost you? Igneous rock. It's not too bad. Definitely could have used that for some of my my holes up here. I'd wondered about that, if I could actually just build like squares to make my areas look more sort of lived in. Yep, that's right. I've instantly got distracted by something else that doesn't matter. So I guess I can't build it just sort of... Oh, I can. Alright. Is that it? It actually just builds it? Oh, that can't be right. There you go. Why can't I cancel that? Cancel build. Let's build someone's... Let's give someone a wall. Promise I will get back to the, actually doing something. Where's Stinky's room? Stinky, let's give your... downstairs that. Let's see what that looks like. Can really make my whole place look a bit more refined with that, can't I? Depends on how much, I don't remember what it was. Igneous rock or granite I want to get rid of. I mean, the granite actually improves the decor of a room. Now, that might not be too bad, actually. Put it around everywhere. I wonder if it looks different. Finish off the whole... I can't imagine it would look any different, but... Put up the other half of Stinky's room. Drywall is worth doing everywhere. Alright, back on focus. So next thing up was... next thing, steam generator. Assume it's power. Steam turbine. So I would imagine that I would use a steam turbine in concert with a steam generator, because I know that it was previously suggested that I could use this for steam generation. So if I was using this for steam generation, I would then have a steam turbine sitting above it, making power. So, it's not that one. Aqua tuner. Not exist in there either. Aqua. Let's make sure aqua tuner doesn't exist within liquid. Refinement. Molecular forge. Oxyite refinery. I think that they're in furniture. Let's go stations. Back to utilities. Wouldn't be automation. Oxygen. This is not a good start. Alright. Aqua. Go sweep through one more time. I'll zoom out a bit more here so we can at least see what guys are doing. Background at least interesting. Rust. Guys like to sleep, it's not a big deal. Increased medicine, increased agriculture. You've got a little bit of athletics. His interest is in suit wearing. A lot of issues. Super hard digging. Name's Meep. Alright, Meep. You're in. Okay, so let's quickly pause for a second. Let's give Meep access to this room. Just for a little while, Meep will get you settled by doing that. We'll copy the bench, put one in there. And then we will figure out something for your bed, I promise, Meep. Another light illuminated room. There's plenty of real estate in the middle that's just sort of wasted. I don't remember if, like, this would be another great place just to get rid of some spots, but we will build here. Or we could even build up here. I wonder if I should do that same technique of just trying to build out, push this gas out of where I want it to be. Do the same thing I'd want to do with this chlorine. Dig out those two. Then we'll say, is this outside? This is outside. Let's get these guys to dig through here. And let's cancel that. Oh, it's because I'm building buildings. Explains why I've had such trouble cancelling things. And then we'll dig out this. Sort of dig out the space. And let's make sure we've got a suit available. Someone's going to get building nice and quick. Alright, back to what we were looking at. We'll keep an eye on that while they're going for it. The shipping one's definitely stuff that I've got feel like well beyond me. Aquatuna. Thermo Aquatuna would possibly be it. Pulls a liquid pipe through it, outputs heat in its immediate vicinity. Okay. So, I would assume then that that means that I'm putting a Thermo Aquatuna somewhere here to cool this liquid. Say between this pump and anywhere. So if, say, we went... I was looking at using this real estate for this water. Let these girls get to work up here. They'll also build that floor. Actually, that's a problem. Let's cancel that for now. We don't want them to push through and allow this to go through. So let's let them do that. We will then sort of start our operation to just push the debris out of that area. double check that I'm building all that with the right thing. Sandstone. Probably doesn't matter too much, but that's improving the decor. Maybe let's do it with that. That. We've got a lot more of it as well. We did that one too. Okay, so along with this, what we're going to do is we're going to look at expanding this water supply. So it's not going to be an immediate impact on what's already here. Plants are going to need to get dug up. I'm going to ask for them to dig out all of that. Cool, they've done that first building, so we'll ask them just to build a bit more. Let's build in that one too. Allow them to get on top of it. Then ask. Then shift this to being a plastic ladder because cancel that one because that's not as much used. And we will build that plastic ladder up to there. And we can dig out those two spots. We can now ask them to dig out those three. We need 1, 2, 3, 4 in height and then a roof. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 in height and then the roof. So that is what we want. Colony lacks. Because that's just saying that we can't dig that. I mean, that's fine. It's the roof anyway if we can't dig that out. Alright, cool. So we'll just cancel those two. We will ask them to dig flip tiles in there. Can ask them to build this along. And then up to this height here. And we'll ask them to in that. Dig those two. Those two if they can get to them. If we don't have more water flowing down here, we just have water going down there. So let's just ask them to mop up that. They can. As long as it doesn't have any germs in it, which doesn't look like it does. Alright, so these guys we can say copy settings to those two. We can ask them to deconstruct these two guys. We will get them to put one more ladder tile just there. We'll ask them to deconstruct those two squares. And you can see as well that this guy here is pumping, he's working overtime. As long as this guy is now under, he's finally hit green, so he's not. But it means that as long as this guy's under, this guy's going to be pulling water from here. Happy cycle 450. Alright, so we will now go. Let's continue building our brick. There's a bit of hydrogen sitting at the top of this guy's room anyway. Very warm up there. Maybe what we need to do is actually just convert these walls to insulated. Actually overestimated here, haven't I? Because that's his roof, but it's his floor. That's floor 1, 2, 3, 4. That's roof. We actually can fit in underneath that rock. So we can cancel that one. Oh, sorry, deconstruct that one rather. And we can ask them to deconstruct those two. Anyone's going to make the journey to get out here and sort this out. Something up here too, wasn't there? What am I thinking of? This guy. Got all this water sitting here that actually also is a steam vent that could potentially run down to fill this tank too. Now the goal here is going to be that this whole thing ends up being inside the base. I guess we've got to consider that for this oxygen and so on that's in there. Cool, that's been done, so we can go tile. So what's our way to do that? So we're going to have to ask them to build. If they figure this out on their own, or if they end up just sort of getting themselves trapped up there. Oh, it's Stinky. He's going to get trapped for sure. Yeah. You alright? It's got you stuck. Okay, let's build a ladder in here, and we'll ask them to deconstruct those three. Let's see if I can then figure out to make that one. Lovely. So I realize now that I've got the should have made those tiles insulated, because I think if I swap them even quickly, it's going to just basically get rid of them for that brief moment. And it's just that would just get destroyed, so it would stop complaining. Okay, so let's dig out. Oh, leave that there for now. Okay. So we're assuming that this section here is going to be inside the base. I'm going to have to build a wall that sort of blocks it this sort of way. So this out here is going to be outside the base. So what we would want almost like I've got to build a line that says this is where we're going to be. Where the passes through it. So this pump currently goes liquid pipe down that way. So, but that's the insulated pipe, just because it's within the frozen area. Because that's a problem, obviously, that this is going to freeze. Not really, not at this point. So, if we instead have this guy go up, run into. We want to start to dig out everything here. So let's go ladder across here, and then orders to dig 3 above, 3 below. See how they go with that. I realize I've built this sort of wall here, but truly I want this to... This is the edge. So we can probably build a ladder. Now we can ask them to uproot that. Ask them to dig this section. Say we want tiles that run just there. We want them to dig everything out there. There. Are they going to be able to reach the bottom there? Good. Plenty of work to do. Good job. So then what we want is we will ask for a ladder that just goes, gets extended straight up here. And I seem to hit every single plant. Cancel those guys. That tile. Out this. Well, I'll just build a ladder straight up there to make this easier. This time we've not made much steel, but I can imagine that's because we've got so much digging work on that everyone loves to do. Yeah, I actually haven't even had a... I realise that I'm still working on guy's poor bedroom. He's unrested. How are you actually looking skills-wise? Athletics 3, cool. Yeah, you're in the right place. Okay. Actually, how's Stinky's room looking too? Not bad. What do we think? Should we do more of the tiling on the walls to make everything look pretty? Okay, so we're going to put an airflow tile in there. We're going to carpet the rest of this floor, including that. We can carpet that one too, just to make it nicer. We won't use copper ore for this. We will use a bit of gold. We'll ask someone, go around back, let's build a wall. Actually, we'll ask someone to build a ladder too. We'll dig on top, because just to be safe. Right, I can't dig that out. Might just get someone to build a wall across there, and then we'll shore up the roof. We'll make this all insulated, and then we can get rid of that. Most important thing too, let's make sure we get a light into this room. And yet obviously because we've got the light fixture. Actually, let's cancel that for a second. Let's look at the... I realize that we've got to fit his artwork underneath it. So if we do that, it's going to cover enough. But we know his bed's going to be at the back side, so let's put that on the back side as well. Just hopefully it doesn't... The airflow doesn't flow down into Arnie's room. What's the temperature like in that room at the moment? 33. Alrighty. So, in our continued attempt to just clean this area out, let's dig out all those. Let's mop up this liquid that's still out here. I realize possibly the more of these that I just make mesh tiles, the better. In fact, I don't even need those tiles there. I can just copy this ladder, chuck him there, and I can just ask him to get rid of those tiles. Basically just anything to keep the, allow there to be more volume of water in there, because it seems like there's going to be a fair bit. Okay, so design. Currently this pump is disabled anyway, so he's not doing anything. So what we can do is we can look at the plumbing going on here. We can say deconstruct, selected to liquid pipes only. Those pipes. Now what we would do, more and more water that's making its way down here. It's ice. It's not melting. It's just that there's so much around that they just keep sort of kicking it. There's Mima, she loves cleaning up a spill, doesn't she? Okay, so we go... Yeah, there's some still coming down. Is it just falling down with such ferocity that it's making it past this one? Let's just make all three of those tiles then, if that solves that problem. Okay, so what we want, after all that effort of finding these things, I now got to remember where they were. Thermo Aqua Tuner. So let's put this guy here. So he actually has to be sitting on something. Okay. Noted. Cancel that build then. Let's think about this. So we want him sitting somewhere where... And I've forgotten where he was. How quickly I move on to the next thing. Find him victory. Dooley. There he is. Okay. Let's put a room. We need enough room for these guys to be able to walk underneath. So let's assume he needs to sit there. And then we can say build a room for this guy with this. And let's assume that we don't want to make it too wide. If we're looking at power and we are looking at our steam turbine, it is that wide. We want a room wide enough to take care of that, so we want this one bigger. Was it too bigger? No, that's right. So that's right in the middle there. He can go there. Or he can come down one, go there, depending on how in his face we want that other guy to feel. Okay, so we're putting him there. What we then need to do is go tile straight up here. Tile straight up here. Cancel those two and make them a door. But we want that to be a manual airlock. We will put this ladder just for construction purposes. No, we could just go construction purposes up the middle like that. We will then ask all of that to be tiled as well. Alright, the light switch is in, and all that outside stuff has been built, so I'm sorry, what's our new mate's name? Meep? Leaky oil fixture. That's an interesting thing to suddenly have arrived into our base. Uh, Fissure. I said fixture. Fissure. That's why I couldn't get rid of that stuff. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Let's put this as a 911 emergency. Let's get these built. I'm not even sure if they can build that highest one. Yeah, I was gonna say get on the right side of that. At least stinky. So I'm just gonna mop that up. Great. So captured all that before we going anywhere else. It's not that hot, that crude oil, luckily. Just sort of fill up that area and we can figure out what to do with that later. Where's the other place that needs it? Still, I'm not sure those guys are doing much of anything. Good to see they're having kids, though. Got some downtime, but I do want to see at the end of this, so let's ask them to ramp this up a little bit as we go overnight. We do also get this room built before I forget. Let's put a ladder on that side too, just to make sure they can get to this corner. While we're doing this too, let's do some plumbing. That will be... Alright, so in theory, it's that this will go into intake, which is that one. Make that cooler air. Then outtake that way. Let's also get our wiring going. So I'm not sure how close they'll be wiring to this point up here. Cool. Bar. Got all that wiring in place while we've got the wall up there. 31 degrees. It's 31 out that door too. And maybe let's insulate that wall as well. I just want to make sure that we've got this guy's bed in working order before we before I forget about it the next time I play. I realize that statue's going to have to be on this side of this room. It's almost just going to have to be a flipped version of the way that other people have their room. Okay, so we've got that. We'll go deconstruct buildings. Not that one yet. Hopefully you can still get to that corner. There's gold. Alright, cool. See, that's more moving in the direction we wanted. That water is really going up, though. That is also, we've got a little bit more steel there, but we are hanging out for 7,500 is what we need before we have any efficiency to it. Alright, this guy needs power. Now we want the... Where are our power cables? Moment. That's our power cable, so let's just go conductive wire. Copy. And we will Let's connect him in. Otherwise, this room is pretty well good. We can say deconstruct these guys. And deconstruct those guys too. I don't know if they're gonna just gonna build ladder there though to allow them to get up there to get it done. Great, this room is otherwise connected. I don't know why you still have no power. Or are you connected to a power line that has no power? Look. Oh, those two are still going. Okay. We can deconstruct those two. And ask them to put a statue there. And a painting up there. Get rid of those. We can ask them to put a comfy bed in there. Yeah, as expected, they got up half of that, not the other half. We'll go power. We will say steam turbine, go there. Ladder, deconstruct. Cool. Now that should be enough that we can at least figure out what's happening next time I come back. So, plenty of printables available. Let's have a quick look at that. Printables, we'll take the copper. Every day of the week we're low on copper. Cool. Alright, so that hopefully has us set up. Is this right or wrong? I don't mind if your answer is I don't want to tell you. I want you to see what happens when you turn this on, if it works or not. Fully support that. I even wonder if I could have two aqua tuners in there side by side and then just have a second pump in here. Like, it probably depends on what the intake requirement of this is. And the interesting thing here is the... okay, so what I'm going to need to do is build bricks along there. Cool. So it was interesting to see what the requirement is there. So I assume we build that. And then we'll build a manual airlock up here. Cool. Alright. Any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below. Till next time, I'll catch you later.